If you make a mistake in science because the evidence is insufficient or your logic is wrong, and then you interact with your colleagues, you get new data, and you don't revise, we view you as dishonest. So when I hear some pundits sitting there and saying, oh, well, your professor flip-flop, he went from cooling to warming, and I'll say, yes, I'm very proud of it, because I was the first guy who published what was wrong with my own stuff. That's what we do in science. We're driven by evidence, not by ideology. In political reporting, it is absolutely fair and balanced. Get the Democrat, get the Republican. Completely appropriate doctrine in two-party politics. However, when you're covering science, you don't get a deep ecology group who cites only the worst cases and the end of the world, and then you get somebody from the Enterprise Institute who tells you carbon dioxide is plant food, it's good for you, forgets to tell you it fertilizes weeds and acidifies the oceans. So you get a parade in the popular media, end of the world, and good for you, the two lowest probability outcomes. This problem is a bell curve, and all honest scientists tell you that. So there is discomfort in the scientific community interacting in the real world of advocacy because it's not the model at which they were trained. And then there's also the fact that most of these people make their reputations on the basis of published works and good measurements and so forth, not on the basis of their capacity to have fast synapses at a press conference. So there's a cultural problem as well, and it takes a generation for cultural change. So the scientific community is having a bit of a problem dealing with this, and they're absolutely dumbfounded by the way that some of their work is constantly quoted out of context by spinners on all sides, and they get so disgusted with it that they just walk. And I'm trying to convince them to stay on target.
What do you think of the behaviour of Professor Phil Jones in asking colleagues to delete emails and the destruction of publicly funded data that was gathered by public funds?
I don't know what he asked, what he said. I don't make comments on redacted emails presented to me by people whose values I don't trust. I would have to see the whole thing, so I cannot very well comment. I don't know about deleting publicly funded scientific data unless it's wrong. Every single scientist collects data. Sometimes the data is wrong. You have errors in measurements. I wouldn't put that out.
So you approve of deleting data?
I do not approve of deleting data. It depends upon the circumstances. There's no general statement that can be made here. Okay, there was another question.
We interviewed him, and when I asked him awkward questions, he got Stanford University to send a legal letter to my documentary firm.
And that's because people lie.
They did not lie. They did not lie. You gave an interview, and when the interview didn't go your way, you used Stanford's legal. This is the debate. This is the debate. This is the level of debate. This is the level of debate.
I have done about 30 if we say something negative about Al Gore, and I told you I can't say that without you giving me the full quote. You never gave me the full quote, and it was completely obvious it was a setup. And if I had a legal way to pull the plug on you, who I don't trust for a second, I did, and I'd do it again. Because you, I don't believe to be a fair and balanced journalist. And
so this is what Professor Stephen Schneider can ask for cameras to be turned off, and he gets the security to do it. What's your identification?